Hi, I'm Jo from J.H.Leather, and in this episode of the J.H.Leather podcast, my car saga continues. We finish the one-to-one workshops for 2023, and I talk about the upcoming make-along videos for the rest of the year. Hello and welcome to this month's episode of the J.H.Leather podcast. Great to have you all back again, and today we've got quite a few things to talk about. October has been a pretty busy month for me, and so we're going to start off with the continuation of my story / continuing issues over my car. So in the last episode, I mentioned that my car has an issue. It's an electrical fault, basically, I think. So the window wipers just suddenly stopped working one day, and we've replaced the motor, and that didn't do it. Obviously, the fuses didn't change anything. And so we were looking at putting in a new fuse box, which didn't do anything either. And I have the option of either it drives, has no wipers, or it has wipers and it doesn't even turn on. So that has been going on, I think, for just ages. It started sort of right at the end of July, and so I just sort of have given up on that car. So I was like, okay, well, we'll go out and we'll look for a new one, and then if the mechanic can fix that car, then I can sell it and try and pay off some of the new car. So anyway, so we went out and we looked around, and I did buy one. And it was a bit wet inside, but apparently, so it was a newer Ford Focus. It was the Mark III, for anyone that's interested. And apparently those Ford Focuses have a big issue with the seals on some vents in the rear of the car failing after a while, and then water getting in behind it, and then eventually sort of flooding over and going into the boot of the car, and then getting sucked forward in all the sort of foam and stuff, and whipping its way up through the car. Anyway, we knew it was wet, but the guy said that they had fixed it at the sort of garage that we were purchasing it from. So it was like, okay, well, if you fixed it, that's fine. We'll take it home and I'll try and dry it out myself. So we took it home and I tried to dry it out myself, but it was absolutely sodden. I wasn't aware of how wet it was until I was trying to dry it out, and it was absolutely soaking. So we rang them up and we took it back, and it had a little clown car for a week whilst they were drying it out. Basically, they had to take out the entire interior of the car, so seats were coming out, all the carpet was coming out, so they could get to it and dry it all out, which they did a really good job of. And I had a little clown car for a week, which was actually quite fun. It was a Peugeot, I think 208 or 108, but it was so funny. It was bright yellow and it was teeny tiny, and I think it had a hole in the exhaust because it was the noisiest thing I think I've ever driven. It was so loud, especially when you just turned it on. And so that happened. So then went and picked it up and drove it around for a bit, and it seemed fine. And then last week we had some incredibly heavy rain, and I'll go into that a bit further later on the podcast. But I was like, okay, well, this is a good test. I'll see, how is the car holding up? And it's fair to say it did not. It was absolutely sodden again, not where I thought it was going to be either. So the problem was it was coming in from the boot, and that did get a bit damp, and so that wasn't ideal. But it was in the rear passenger footwell. It was absolutely sodden. Like, you could put your hand in it and it would just it was soaked through. So anyway, at this point, I can't be dealing with to and fro into a garage every time it rains because it's leaked and they still haven't found it. So we ended up actually returning that this week. So I am once again without a car, but it's just a shame. I mean, it's one of those things because that garage was so nice, and it's because you never know how good a company is until something goes wrong and it has to get sorted out. And they were absolutely lovely. So they took it back. No, they did offer to try and fix it and meet with me keeping it. I just can't deal with that. I've got too much other stuff going on that I need to deal with to worry about, it's rained, I wonder if my car's dry. So anyway, so that's gone back. So I am once again on the hunt for a car. So hopefully we'll be able to find one that stays dry. That could be quite novel. So that's the update on the old car front there. And I was speaking about we had an awful lot of rain. Like, it was really bad here in the UK. And I think where we were, it wasn't as bad as where it was elsewhere. I think we got quite lucky with it. There's some parts in the UK that it got hit really bad, especially up on the east coast of Scotland. So we fared better than a lot of other places, but there was an awful lot of water around and rain. Thankfully, our house is a little bit elevated, so we were fine. However, all the fields around us were pretty damp, and the river was incredibly high that I sort of walked Skylar over. And so I did the very British thing of talking about the bad weather, going out in said bad weather to take photos, to share with people, and show them the bad weather. But it was, I prefer when I went out, it wasn't too bad. It was quite, well, at least it wasn't as raining as bad, but it was just interesting to see. I find all that stuff quite fascinating, how weather works and the sort of effects it has on the environment sort of around it. And like the river, it was so high, it was crazy. And I went for my walk, and when I come back it was even higher. So that was pretty bonkers. Like I said, fortunately this area didn't get hit too bad. There was a bit of flooding around on some of the roads, but it wasn't overly bad. They did close a couple roads, but like I said, I mean, we got, compared to what other places got hit, we got incredibly lucky, I feel, there. Another new thing that has happened this month is I've actually started to take up running. Now, this is something that I have actively avoided doing running in the past. I've always thought I would absolutely hate it. However, my mum got diagnosed. She's got osteoporosis, so that is brittle bones, and it does run in the family. Her mum had it, and her mum's mum had it as well. So the likelihood is I could get it. So anyway, went to the doctor's, got a blood test. All my bloods are good. Calcium levels was fine. However, in order to keep up my bone strength, I need to do like an activity where I need to strengthen them. And the doctor said, although like weights and stuff like that is fine, you need the impact on your sort of skeleton, I think was the way she put it. And so running was what she suggested. So I have downloaded the Couch to 5K app from the NHS, and I've got to say it's absolutely amazing. So if any of you are actually looking at taking up running, if you don't know where to start, oh my goodness, it's so good. And so I've just finished the second week of it now, and you do 3 runs a week, and you download a presenter to actually talk you through it, and they tell you when to run, tell you when to walk and stuff like that. It's actually really good, and I'm actually really enjoying it now. I probably haven't started at the best time of year, coming into winter and all, but it's been fine so far. I was a bit put off on my first run with my route in that it goes through a farm, and oh my goodness, the farms make a right old mess. It went through this farmyard, and there's just cow pats and just everywhere. And then further on down the road, there's obviously not very good drainage on this road, and it was just like sloppy mud fest. And they were, I think, they were harvesting something. I think it might have been the maize, and there were tractors covered, and it's only a narrow, like 1 vehicle wide road. So that was a bit stressful. So I haven't gone that way again. I've been going in the opposite direction, and that's been turning out fine. And like, I'm actually quite enjoying it. Yeah, it's nice. It's one of those things. I said to Tim, I don't want you to be offended by my statement, but it's really nice to just be on my own. That's because I don't bring Skylar with me, because Skylar is, I don't know, I don't think she'd be the best running partner, because she's very interested in what's going on around her. So I could be like in the middle of a running section, and she'd be like, ooh, something smells, whoop, and off we go up into the hedge and stuff. So she's not come out with me yet, and I think I don't want her to be like forced running. She is coming up 10.5 now, so I think, to be fair, I think she would be fine with it, but it's me that has the issue with bringing her, so she's not coming with me for the moment. But yeah, like I said, I'm actually really enjoying it, and I got my first sporting injury. Thankfully, it wasn't too bad. So on my route, there is a cattle grid, and to go around it, you can go through a gate, but it's always so wet and muddy and just ugh. So I didn't want to go through that. So it's really like the bars in it are really, really wide, so I can walk across it and hold the fence as I go. And on one occasion, I don't really know what happened. I was trying to explain it to my sister. I still can't explain it. I think I must have slipped, and it was on the last step on the way back home, going over it. So I've got hold of the fence as I'm walking across, and then on my last step, my foot, I had one foot on the concrete, and then my other foot that I was bringing up towards me, I somehow like bashed it in between the bars, and oh my, did I get a big bruise on the top of my foot. So yeah, luckily it was just a bruise. It was a little bit swollen for the first day, and the day after I took Skylar out for a walk in it's a pair of oversized wellies. They don't fit me, but we have them here at the house, and they're like half a size too big, so I got to wear some big chunky socks with them for them to fit. And that was a bit hard going, because every time I sort of, you move your foot, and it's sort of the top of your shoe sort of creases up a bit. Every time I took a step with it, that was creasing up and putting pressure on it. So that was a bit awkward. But other than that, it was fine. And yeah, now the bruise has gone and everything is fine. And I'm hopefully going to be starting a new week today. Yeah, no, it should be quite good. So I'll let you know how that goes. But yeah, like I said, if any of you are interested in getting running, they do basically talk you through, and the NHS app is free. I'm not sure if you can get it in other countries. I assume you can. It's just I've got an Android, so it's just on the Google Play Store, and it's on Apple as well. It's just NHS Couch to 5K, and I do highly recommend it if you are looking at getting fitter or you want to start running or anything like that. It is worth having a look into. Now, another non-leathery thing that has happened this month was I went out with my friend and her doggy Damson with Skylar, and we actually went to a pumpkin farm. Now, I haven't actually been to a pumpkin farm before, but we were wanting to go and take some photos of Skylar and Damson in the pumpkins. So it's a local farm near to us. It was only about 15 minutes away, and you can you go and you pick your own organic pumpkin. If you wanted to take one home, you can go and pick it and bring it back for carving or eating. But we actually wanted to go and take photos, so I didn't buy any pumpkins. Hannah bought a few right at the end, but the main objective was to take photos of the dogs in the pumpkins, and we had a really good time. It was so good, and the doggies pretty much behaved all right. There was a couple of awkward poop moments where we'd literally just arrived and gone through the tent. Yeah, like it was probably about 30 meters after getting through the entry tent, Skylar was like, oh, I'm gonna drop one. Sorted that out, and then Damson decided to drop one. The only thing that we both thought could have been better was having an actual bin. So we were responsible dog owners and we picked up, but we couldn't find a bin anywhere. So we had to find someone and was like, just gave it to them to deal with. But it was just a bit odd that it's a site open to the public. There's going to be kids there. There's other people with dogs there. Why they didn't have a bin set up, I don't know, but I don't know. Anyway, we dealt with our mess and we responsibly gave it to some of the organisers to deal with. I suppose they offered to take it, so that was fine. We didn't just force it upon them. But yeah, so anyway, we had a really good time and we got some really lovely photos of the dogs. And I don't remember if I mentioned this in a previous podcast or not, but I've started a website which is basically a blog. So I've said before in the past that I do enjoy photography and I want a photography outlet, as it were. So I am trying to make time, as it were, to start doing some videos along with that. But at the moment, it is a blog website. So it's just joeherd.co.uk. And if you're interested, I will leave links in the description and you can go and have a look at all the photos and read up about our day and a few other things that I've been up to in the past. But yeah, so basically we went and had a really good time in the pumpkins. Right, so we can now I've got all of that out of the way, we can start to talk about the leather side of the month. So this month we have had, so far, I've still got one more day, but we've had 3 one-to-one workshops, which has been really fun because the whole year has been really quiet for one-to-one workshops. I feel like I could have done a bit more to help promote them because basically, in the previous years, because they have been busy, and I take photos of the workshops as they are happening and then post them, and I think because I didn't have many workshops and I wasn't posting about them, I didn't get that many bookings. And it wasn't until I think the end of August time where I was like, oh, I should really start promoting these, that I ended up getting a couple more bookings, which is really good. And so that's something I need to take into next year. I really do need to just promote the workshops, even if people haven't booked on yet. But anyway, so we had, like I said, we've had 3 different sets of people. So we had the lovely Becky and Dean. They came up for one day to make some dog collars. So they were both complete beginners. And so we started out making our coasters first thing before moving on to our dog collars. So we were just making some plain collars because they were just here for the day. You can't really get much further than a plain collar. But they both got on really, really well. And Becky made a collar for her dog. Oh, I forgot the name. I think Piper, she's called, which is a Labrador. So we made one for Piper. And then Dean was making a collar for his friends. Honestly, I think it's a bear. This collar was absolutely massive. It was the St. Bernard crossed with the Pyrenees mountain dog or something. It was absolutely massive. He showed me a picture of it. It's basically a bear. And this collar, what was it? I think we made it was something like 32 inches to the middle hole. This dog's neck side. It's absolutely ridiculous. Or was it 30 inches we made it? I don't know. It was a big collar. It was basically a small belt, but they both got on really well and we had a great time in the workshop with both of them. The following week, we then had Sarah and Paul in the workshop. Now, they came for 2 days because they wanted to make some padded hound collars. So with the padded stuff, really that does take 2 days to do because you've got a lot of stitching going on there. So again, on day 1, we were doing our coasters and then we started doing our collars. So they got a couple of, what was it? The words elude me. They got an Italian Greyhound, which is teeny tiny. Honestly, they showed me a picture. It's basically, her neck is like a wrist. It's tiny. And then they've got a sort of slightly bigger, I think it's Italian Greyhound cross maybe, I've forgotten. And then they've got a small Greyhound as well. So we made a collar each because I make the items as well, so I took one of the collars to make so that none of the dogs got left out. And yeah, they got on really well. So padding is not an easy thing to start out with, and neither is a hound collar, so putting them both together is not an easy task. And because they were so small, the sort of taper from the point and the buckle end up to the overall width was quite steep, so it is hard to get the sort of padding, like the right shape for that, but they both did really, really well. We finished the collars halfway through day 2, and then so we actually got on and we made a plain lead as well, so they got on really well. And so they went home with 3 collars and 3 leads, as well as their coasters. And again, they both got on really well, and it was really lovely having them in the workshop. And now this week is the last week of one-to-one workshops, so they're going to be finishing, and the last day is going to be on Saturday the 28th of October, where Marcus will be coming back. Now, he has already been in this week, so Marcus, I think, was one of the very first people in the workshop this year, and he booked 3 days, and we have split them up, but due to like work commitments and ties from both of us, he's not been able to book in his last 2 days until like now. So he was in as I'm recording this yesterday, and we made a plain collar for his brother's dog. And we also, so Marcus wanted a way of personalizing the collars in a way that they could be repersonalized if needed. So what I came up with, rather than stitching anything onto the collar or anything like that, I came up with this little sort of sleeve idea. Basically on the laser cutter on the Glowforge, we made sort of we engraved the names, and we cut out this little sleeve, and then we did a bit of a cross stitch on the back. So it actually it's like a really big long loop. That's the only way I can describe it. It's like, yeah, like a little, well, sleeve. So yeah, you sort of cross stitch it, and then it just slides onto the collar, and so you can put it where you want on the collar, and then if needs be, or if you don't want it on there anymore, you can slide it off. And that actually worked really well, and I was really pleased with that. And so hopefully that will hold up. It's one of those things, until you put it out and you test it, you're not too sure how it's going to work. So hopefully that will come out, and that will work out well. And so, yeah, so we finished the collars, and then we also went on to start doing another dog lead. He did a dog lead on his previous workshop with us way back in April. And so we've almost got that finished. But again, he wants to personalise that for his brother, because his brother and his sister-in-law retired this year. So we're making another little sleeve to go on there, so he can give that to them, and they know that that's their little lead, which is really nice. And then, so we're going to finish that when he comes back in on Saturday morning. And then we're going to make another couple of collars for his own dogs, and then hopefully another lead if we get time. And if not, Marcus wants to just get everything prepped up so that he can buy his own tools and finish them at home, which will be really nice. So yeah, so workshop wise, super busy, and it's really, I love doing the workshop. So it's a shame that I haven't had more this year, but I'm also, on the other hand, I'm quite glad that they are coming to an end in that, because this month has been so full on with workshops. I haven't had time to really focus on the videos at the moment for November, so they might be delayed by about a week or so, because like I say, I haven't actually got them started at all yet, and it might be that the make-along comes at the end of November and we'll just swap the 2 videos around. So yeah, so that's that for the workshop. Yeah, like I said, I'm happy they're coming to an end, in that it means I got more time to focus on the videos and making and coming up with more ideas for you guys to hopefully enjoy and learn along as well. And so moving on to some video chat. So this month I released the removable pen holder video, which actually has done quite well. I'm quite pleased with that. And the strap cutter video. So it was all about strap cutters and how to set them up and use them. Now, unfortunately, that didn't do as well as I thought it would, but that happens sometimes. It's one of those. So there is a bit on YouTube where you can sort of research into what people are searching for and sort of come into your content for. But whenever I do that, all the stuff people are searching for are videos that I've already made and have content for, it's one of those annoying things where it's like, that's quite helpful in a way, but also it doesn't actually help me learn about what people are wanting to see in terms of all the videos that they're coming to are ones that I've already got. So a lot of the videos, sort of ideas that I do come up with and do come out with are either usually suggestions from the Discord, or just ideas that I've had that I think could be quite good to learn about. Sometimes that doesn't pay off, like in this strap cutters video. It hasn't performed overly well at all, but hopefully it's going to be one of those long burner things, because there are going to be new people coming in to leathercraft all the time, and they're gonna at some point buy a strap cutter, so hopefully over the years that will pick up a bit more. So yes, I mean, that were the two that came out this month. And I think I mentioned earlier, I haven't actually got any videos ready as yet for November release. So one video I'm hoping to do is going to be the dividers, screw crease and stitch groove, and when to use them and why, and what benefits you have from one that you didn't get from the other. So that is going to be coming out this month. It is something that I am going to be hopefully writing up this week if I can. If not, it will be written at the beginning of next week, and then I can go and film that. And like I said, I think that one's going to be the one that comes out first, because that one is going to be a bit easier and a bit quicker for me to make than the make along video. I was planning on doing a sort of like a zipped, not folio, but like a zipped type folder. I think I've changed my mind. Like I said, I'm not totally 100% on this, but basically I want to make a weekend bag. Now, I have made a weekend bag before this year for my mum for her birthday, and it's a really nice, I don't want to blow my own horn here, but it was a really nice bag, and I think it would be something that you guys could be interested in. And so that will have to be split up into at least 2, maybe even 3 videos, because it is a very big project, and one part of that is going to be the rolled handles. Now, I do need to perfect these a bit, which is why it's going to take me a little bit of time to actually figure out to just figure out the pattern first, and then once I know the pattern, I can then do the actual video for that. And what I mean by the pattern is, so there are 2 types of sort of ends that you can put on anything that's rolled, and if you've seen any of my dog collar videos, you see that I usually will like tuck the end of the rolled part in, and then that gets sort of like scarred down to nothing, and then that gets caught in the stitching, and that works really well for collars. However, it doesn't look as nice as when you have the sort of but the end stitched on afterwards. I hope this is making sense. So I don't have much experience doing that way, because like I said, with all the horse stuff that I used to do, with all the equine stuff, we would always do the sort of tucked in, sort of scarred down to nothing, and then tucked in and caught in the rolling method. I don't know if they have any, like if there is a specific name for them. We used to call the version that we used to do the cat's bum method. Very highbrow, I know. And if you've done a rolling this way, you probably get what I mean by that. But the other way, where you stitch it on afterwards, it does look a lot nicer. And I think if we're going to be making a high-end bag, we're going to want to have nice looking handles, or at least the ends of them. Not that most people would know, but as the makers, we will know. And so I just want to get the pattern right for that, because you got to lay the stitches out in a certain way that they work. I don't know, that's not the right, but basically said the stitch marks all line up and are even. I haven't got the hang of that yet, so that's something that I want to work on. I need to work on that, and like I said, I need to get the pattern right first, and then once I got the pattern right, I can then make the video. So that is my ongoing task, hopefully for this month. And yeah, hopefully by the end of, what month are we going to be in? Hopefully by the end of November, there will be a rolled handle video for you all to watch and enjoy. And then moving on from that, it will be the full weekend bag project, which I'm really looking forward to, because when I made my mum's one, it was quite stressful because I had a very set time limit before she was going in for her operation. So hopefully this one I can not take my time at, but I won't be as stressed, and I won't be working until like 2:30 in the morning at the workshop trying to get it finished. And so, yeah, I think that is about it for this episode of the J.H.Leather podcast. Now, if you do have any suggestions for videos, whether it be make-along videos or sort of skills videos or anything like that, please do let me know in the comments below, or you can join our Discord channel. And again, that'll be a link in the description, and you can sort of let me know from there, because it's always great to have input from you guys, so I can tailor the videos to what you guys actually want to know rather than what I think you might like to know. So anyway, thank you very much for listening to this episode of the J.H.Leather podcast, and I shall catch you in the next one.